All right, let's get back to our markets as we head to the final hour of trading. We've got Cresset Wealth Management's Jack Ablin and Walser Wealth Management President Rebecca Walser. Guys, great to have you here.
Great to be here.
All right, Rebecca, first to you. Looks like we're going to have a down week for the Dow if these numbers hold at this point. A lot of it based on earnings, Amazon and Apple. Your last thoughts on the trading day?
Yeah, I was with you, Cheryl. I wanted to see it come back, but obviously the GDP this week, we expected it, didn't help. But and 30 million is a big number to digest, right? So obviously the market is saying, oh wow, we are in for the long haul here. I expect us to have some volatility in May back and forth with some positive numbers on reopenings, and that's going to give us positive uplifting up news. But then we're going to have the negative earnings coming out that we are going to be hampered down by. So expect a volatile month for May, and it makes sense.
Jack, where do you look for opportunity in these markets? Jack? All right, I don't think Jack can hear me right now. The fun Rebecca of technology and Skype and everything. But Rebecca, it's interesting because, again, we're going through these earnings, but a lot of analysts have said that some of these earnings don't necessarily matter because the pandemic and the country shutting down didn't really kick in until, in earnest, March 20th. How do you read these earnings reports? Because we're right in the middle of a very heavy reporting season.
Yeah, I think actually, if we look at Alphabet this week, I think that's really something that we can, key in on, because you have a lot of businesses that have diverse, lines of service or, revenue streams. And then look at Alphabet. Basically, we expected their advertising on Google, which is their main, breadwinner, to be down, and it was. But YouTube was a surprising up, over 30% up, and that makes a lot of sense because, like Netflix, people are at home watching it. So I'm really interested to kind of dive into these companies and see what service lines or what lines of business are performing and what we're underperforming. Obviously, if everything is, retail side or, restaurant based, something like that, it was going to all be down. We understand. But some businesses have dichotomies, and it's really going to be interesting to see which ones are performing and which ones aren't.
Jack, I understand that you're back with us, and, she mentioned retail, and we got news last night, that Macy's is going to be working to reopen most of their stores, and it's an aggressive timeline. Retail, though, seems to be maybe the last leg that comes back. How do you play that sector?
Yeah, I think retail, it could be among the last, although maybe sporting events and movie theaters probably behind that.
That's true.
Yeah, it's tough. We've got companies that are insolvent. J. Crew filing for bankruptcy imminently. It's going to be very difficult because, if you look at just polling data, I looked at a Pew poll that showed that nearly 75%, I think a little more than 75% of Americans were going to be reluctant to get out back into retail stores, back into restaurants. So I think that, opening the economy is a little bit of, a crack will mean some progress, but I don't expect everyone rushing to the stores right away.
Jack, consumer spending is 70% of this economy, and with these 30 million unemployment claims out there, the question is, when do jobs come back? When do we get back to semi-normal with the employment story?
Yeah, it's the good thing about, though, if you look at the classification of those unemployment claims, more than 85% of them are temporarily furlough unemployment. So these are employees that are still connected back to their original employer. And so once operations become up and get up and running and hopefully back to normal, then it's really just a simple re-engagement.
Rebecca, I'm going to give you final word. I'm about out of time, but I do want to ask you, do we revisit that March 23rd low, yes or no?
Oh gosh, let's pray no. No.
You're going to go with a no. Hey, I got 20 seconds, Jack. Final word.
Yeah, I think that now that earnings season is over, and I think investors realize it, we're going to be buffeted with COVID data and economic data. It's going to be tough.
We're looking for a vaccine. We're looking to reopen. We're looking for these markets to stabilize. Well, at least another week we have survived. Jack and Rebecca, thanks to both of you. Appreciate it. I have survived. A few bumps and bruises.